Hello YouTube, it's time for your favorite flea market show. Well, after Pat, and Retro Liberty, and the Game Chasers, and Fluffy. You know what? It's your fourth favorite show. It's Flea Market Adventures! Santa Stash Flea Market again this weekend. Really cool place. I wouldn't say it's the best flea market we've ever been to, but for the amount of distance that we have to travel to get there and just the overall stuff that you can find, it's decent. I would say it's probably in the top 5 places we've ever gone to. There's always an agenda when we go. Kirby's looking for stuff again for the house, and I'm just looking for video games.
So Santa Stash is like 45 minutes away, and we go, normally only go like once a month, maybe twice every 2 months, whatever. Anyways, we don't go often, but we have been going often because we're picking up stuff for the house. We went this past weekend, and what did we find?
So we get back to Santa Stash Flea Market. Like Kirby mentioned, we've been here pretty often in the last few weekends just because she's found a cabinet store on the inside of the flea market that has really good deals on different handles for the cabinets, for the bathroom, for the kitchen, and she's working on a deal with them. They're kind of slow in making our orders, but she's getting it done. So right away I start looking for stuff. You see a whole bunch of figurines here. Marc Messier, Patrick Waugh. This I hadn't seen before. It's a terrible, I don't want to insult anyone, but Japanese or Chinese knockoff. Over here we've got Kirby looking for games already, hunting like a champ. We have a really good time together, and you know, Kirby's a gamer herself, and I'll let her explain it to you. Wow.
My history of gaming started with the old school Nintendo system. I had Lolo, I had a Mickey and Minnie Mouse game, and of course the Super Mario Brothers, it was just Mario Brothers, whatever. That's what I started off playing, and it graduated to the SNES, and we were playing, again, Super Mario Brothers. My cousin Chris and I used to play Joe and Mac with the second one, and make all kind of like collections, because you had to like build their house, blah blah blah. And that was my intro to Zelda, and that went to Nintendo 64 and all the other systems afterwards, and my Legend of Zelda obsession began.
We had a nice cool day. It was a Sunday morning when we got there. We actually got there at about 9:30 in the morning, which was good for me because the last few times that we did go, we got there after 11, and I'm running into, I don't want to say sharks, it's mostly probably collectors, but there's definitely a lot of people out there scooping up video games now. I'm sure if they see me too, they recognize me, they know I'm there for the same thing. Now over here, I'm noticing a lot of Vita, PlayStation 3, 360 games have become the new video game table fodder. You can find a lot of good games at decent prices. Over here, guy usually has good stuff. He's recognizable, this guy, I see him often. He has a lot of new games. He's always got sports equipment, he's got electronics. This time the prices weren't anything that I really wanted. Kirby caught my attention. She was looking at a small table and chairs. I thought about Shadowrun, but a lot of these games are between 10 and 15. Like, if you do hunt for it, you can find good deals on Last Generation now. Just this guy, I don't know what was up with his pricing this week. There's Game of Thrones cups and different beer glasses. Now this table's been setting up for, I'd say, the last month. Like we said, we've been here often lately, and he always has good toys. I make it a point to come see him. He even sets his booth up like a little horseshoe. Nothing fantastic this week, but he's always got comics, toys, and older video games. You have a Walking Dead comic here. There was some kind of Batman poster in the back. Not huge into comics, but my brother collects, and if there's ever a title that catches my eye, I'll pick it up. A ColecoVision steering wheel. Ratchet and Clank, I think? Some kind of toys. Over here, another table of toys. Like I said, this guy is pretty good. He's always got different toys. I don't know if he's a storage locker buyer or... And then this caught my eye. Very tricky. Old school looking box. Kmart exclusive. The Ewoks Lookout. So, I had to check out the box. Flip it over. As soon as I saw the vintage sign and it said 2007 on it, you know, not anything I would pick up. I love Star Wars, but I don't need Ewok toys. Now, if you look here at all these box McFarlane hockey figures, I think I inadvertently raised the price at this flea market accidentally, because I picked up about 4 or 5 of them a few weeks in a row. I picked them up for $5 each from this guy, just because my brother and father had birthdays close to each other. They're both Ranger fans, so I picked up a couple of Mark Messier's, Brian Leach's, Mike Richter's, etc. for $5. And in all the next weeks, I always see them from anywhere to $15 to $30 now. Pretty cool little Genesis phone case there. You're gonna see this in an upcoming pickups video. Now I'm starting to see these tables earlier and earlier. $1 for everything, $2 for everything on the table. Some of them even have 50% off marked sticker price. I'm not sure if these people are closing out for good or what, but it's only early August. This flea market's open till, geez, the middle of November. This is a great place for the small toy collector if you're looking for pieces for your broken items. If you're just looking for anything in general, you can find Marvel, video game stuff. They've got obviously stuff for girls. Like, it's great for any kind of collector here. Now my spider sense has started tingling. We went a couple of aisles before I actually found some good game stuff. I noticed 2 PlayStations here, the first one, the second one, some third-party controllers, lots of CDs. There's actually some PC games in there too. You always have to make sure the code is in there. Here I notice a triple score Genesis game. All the wires are with the PlayStations too. This one is Midway Arcade Classics 3, and I noticed Hydro Thunder was on it. I was in a retro store last week, and they had Hydro Thunder for the Dreamcast and for the N64, and they were between like $10 and $15, $16. I didn't want to pay that much for the game, so I lucked out and I found this one. It has Hydro Thunder as part of the 10-game collection, and I picked this up for $5. I thought that was a really good deal. This guy was talking to people trying to sell Barbies. Now this table is a father and son team. I always notice them because they have that Dragon Ball Z Trunks character. You see the ceramic up there. I come to them every time I see them now. They're the ones that I picked up that Mega Man 64 for $12 last week. You'll see that in a pickups video. Here they're setting up the glass case. Last week this was full of Mega Man games. This week only hockey cards. You got the Jay-Z DJ Hero. Here Castlevania on the PS2. Bunch of games over here too. I wound up not picking up the Castlevania because there was some significant scratching in it, but you know, I always check these guys, said hello to them just so, you know, keep that good rapport. Now here's another vendor that I have to come see what he has every weekend, which is usually a lot of video games and Blu-rays. There's PlayStation 3, 360, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, the odd Nintendo 64 game, and he has really good stuff in his van, which you have to go into his van to see, which is a little rapey, pedophile-y. but I have bought games from him before. I actually sat in this guy's van and bought some pretty choice titles. You know, he's harmless, he's a nice man, he doesn't want to put out a lot of good stuff. I'm not entirely sure why he's like that, but he's very knowledgeable about games, and he speaks perfect English and French, so it makes buying off him a lot easier. And some people ask why I don't always use audio in my video clips. One, the spy camera glasses don't take great audio as it is. It's like really loud. Sometimes there's pops. Sometimes things cut out. And secondly, it's just we are in Quebec and a lot of people are speaking French, and then I'm trying to answer them in broken French, and I just don't feel like doing translations, and you know, it's not really worth my time. Anyway, back to the video games. So everything's priced, which is good too. You don't have to stop and hold everything up and ask each time. Games range between about $3 and $12. Most of the time there's sun damage like this, but I have bought, like I said, games off this guy before, and there's usually a good variety. It's not the same stock month to month. And inside the infamous van, the boxes of great games. He's actually helped me build my collection.
What do I think of Ryan's collecting? Ryan has a very large collection of video games. Very large collection of video games. When we moved in, I had a spare room that wasn't being used really. And now it was. But it was wall to wall, floor to ceiling, full of games, full of game consoles. We're in the process of packing, so.
Huge long and short boxes, comics for $1. Comic book collectors could clean up here. Here's a table of dolls and toys. Everything, again, I like when they're priced, so it makes it easier just to kind of gauge if you have to haggle or not. Here was a Telestar. I think it was from a Consumers, I'm not sure, maybe a Sears. I looked at this for a little bit, checked the battery compartment. It had a $10 posted on it, and normally I think that would be a fair price to take a guess on something like this, because it is from the late 70s, early 80s, but I noticed that the wires were completely pulled out. You wouldn't be able to plug it into the TV, non-functional. Number one game you see at the flea market, Mario Duck Hunt Combo. Now, something you may not know, well, at least I didn't know, is for the PlayStation 3 for Rock Band and Guitar Hero, you need a special plug-in for the USB port for your instruments to work. I learned about that the hard way. Again, collecting for last gen isn't that hard now. This guy had a huge suitcase full of 360, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 games, and he was only looking for about $4 or $5 each. Unfortunately, it wasn't titles I was really after. And what flea market wouldn't be complete without a box of tangled up controllers and wires? I can remember only a few years ago, PS2 Slims were hard to come by and actually fetched a decent price. Now you see them on almost every other table. So that's good old St. Stash Flea Market. Always something interesting to look at. There's food, there's coffee, fresh air. It's nice to be out for a nice Sunday like this. Even though it was overcast, the weather was beautiful. We wound up picking up some of the handles that we needed. We're going to have to go back again next weekend, so I can't lie, I'm looking forward to that. We don't always find everything. This place is very hit and miss, but I'm happy to say that I have more hits than misses. And speaking of misses, here's mine. Here's Kirby listening to this guy's pitch about how it's hand-carved, yada yada yada. After he says everything, she lowballs him. It's really fun going to the flea market with Kirby. She's like, I don't know, she's a bargaining assassin. She's always bundling things together. She lowballs people. She's really good. I think she's better than me at getting deals now. It's unbelievable. She shows me all the stuff that she finds, $3, $4, sometimes things that they're asking for like $40, $50, she's getting for 20. Like she picked up that awesome sealed Star Wars Blu-ray a couple of weeks back. She's terrific. I love her. Now the items I picked up, what I spent, and what's the average price range on savings compared to the buy it now on eBay as of August 2015. Picked up a Legend of Zelda styled Master Sword, no edge to it. I spent $40 on it. To me, that was a great deal. Picked up a complete in box original Xbox. And luckily inside was Star Wars Battlefront 2 and this wireless adapter. Top Gear Rally for the Nintendo 64. Super Nintendo Fatal Fury 2. Super Nintendo Super Off-Road The Baja. Nintendo Mach Rider. Happy to find this complete in box Rad Racer for the NES. Complete Player's Choice GameCube Crazy Taxi. PlayStation 2 quite the surprise Simpsons The Hit and Run. PlayStation 2 EverQuest, the guy talked me into this saying how rare it was. Midway Arcade Treasures 3. Silent Hill 2. Greatest hits. 2 GBA games, Pinball, F-Zero. Something you don't see every day, a double ender for Atari 2600. So happy to find this, Silent Hill, the original one, Black Label. 2 books, Train Spotting, and I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. Upcoming episodes, guys. Big pickups. There's Yard Sale Scores 5, Loch SNES vs. Geordie Kong, and I'm still working on that horror movie. Make sure you put in the comments to tell Kirby to hurry up if you want to see that too.
So, I do sing some cover songs on my own YouTube channel. It's Ganusiosta, Ganusiosta. Again, it's just cover songs for shits and giggles. Can I say shit?
Yeah.
Oh.